Hi, thanks for spending time with me today. We're looking at number 10 in Nathan Ost's miniature etudes for trumpet. I really like these. I find them very challenging to get to the point where they're elegant, beautiful, simple, refined. So I'm not concerned just with playing the notes, but it's a good place to start. So I'm going to play through this for you today, and the title is Hurrying, which I feel like I'm always in a hurry, so this should be easy for me, right? And it says the tempo is 160 to the quarter note. So I'm going to try and play it at that tempo. Okay. That's kind of a fun one. Now, obviously, there's some double tonguing in there. We'll talk about that a little bit, but to me, almost all the time, once you get your basic skills in place, you work on the Clark Technical Studies and the qualities of the slurs, the qualities of the articulation, the pitch, the quality of your sound, of course, your fingering technique, all the basic stuff. You're working out of Arbin, you're working out of Schlossberg, you're working out of any number of books that are available, which are great for the purpose of maintaining your technique. So you have to have that technique first before you can play the music. So sometimes it seems rather daunting to play, and the reason is you haven't built the technique yet. So I'm going to look at a couple of things that a lot of players, in my experience, a lot of my students have had trouble with, and they don't even realize what's causing the problem. So the way this is written is quite interesting. Remember, Mr. Oss is a trumpet player, so he knows what the issues are. So at the very beginning, you have this pattern. You get the idea. I'm pointing this out because there are rests. So you're starting and stopping all the time. And so what I noticed many players doing is and that's really not necessary. What is necessary is to always stay poised, balanced, and ready for the next thing that's going to happen. So it's not wrong to take a breath. As a matter of fact, what I just did is kind of a good exercise as long as you're doing it on purpose. And the point is to practice the quality of your breath and how accurately and consistently you can get back into the right spot to play the next thing. But every time you take a breath, as one of my former colleagues from the BSO, Danny Katzen, from many years ago, said, well, every time you take the mouthpiece off, you can form a new embouchure. And I thought, that's a very interesting idea. I don't want to tell too many stories, but Danny was the guy when he was a horn player, second horn, and when we were playing Christmas pops, and we were doing sleigh ride, and the trumpets have the melody, playing that little jazzy section, or most of the piece. Most of the piece, the horn players are going, da, 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 and that's what Danny would be doing. I can't demonstrate that for you because I haven't practiced it, but I think it's an amazing skill to be able to have the embouchure poised, put the mouthpiece on, and take it off, and then put the mouthpiece on again, and have a consistent attack. Try that sometime. Let me know if you have success with it. I find it to be pretty difficult. I would need to practice it. But in this case, that's not what we're doing. We want to make it easier, more manageable to play. So the way to do this is take a breath whenever you need to and practice that quality, just like I was saying. But don't take a breath every time you have a rest. So instead of you see I switched over. I'm going to do it again a little faster. So, okay, that's the bottom tempo. I'm a little bit slow. I'm going to go faster than that. Okay, that was kind of fun. When you get it working, it's satisfying, and that's what you're trying to build in your practice. So I hope you noticed that I was just remaining poised on the rest. And I took a breath, a light, conversational, natural, easy breath whenever I wanted to. That's one of the main things you want to practice as a player. If you can't do that, if there's some kind of tension, some kind of struggle, even if you're not aware of it, you need to become aware of it, because that kind of accumulates in your body, and then it's just harder to play the instrument. So keep it very, very light. Now, there's something else I want to mention, which has to do with, before I start to talk about the double tonguing, which has to do with the feeling of hurrying, because I set that tempo on. I'm going to set it even faster, just because I think it's fun. Okay, so that's a pretty quick tempo. So see if I can do that on the double tongue. So now I'm kind of tight. So I'm going to do just the gesture, which is like the beginning. So now the double tongue's getting kind of quick, and it's starting to smooth out a little bit. Now this is something you're going to go very slowly until you can get up to as fast as you can play. As soon as you hit the sloppy place, back it off a couple of notches and get back into the groove where you feel like it flows. If you're fighting and it's bumpy, you're not building good skill. And you might have to take it way back in order to do this. I took it all the way back to just doing a slur, which is what I often do. Now, I mentioned the tempo. I showed you a couple of different tempo variations. In order to get it to feel like it's hurrying, it's not just a matter of the tempo. So I'm going to scale it back to 160 again, which will now feel quite slow. Weird. I'll point out something about that. I wasn't really concentrating on it, but I'm going to concentrate on it this time. If I enter exactly on time, so I'm absolutely synchronized with the metronome, that's a feeling of a groove. But there are two basic feelings that you're dealing with. It's actually a whole spectrum of time feel. But you can describe one end of the spectrum as laid back. In other words, the entrance is always going to be a little bit late. It will sound lazy. It will sound a little bit tentative. It'll sound maybe tired, like it's a hot summer day and you don't feel like moving. So it's not just calm, it's like a little bit heavy. And these are things that we can communicate through what we're doing with the music. So just like the drummer in a band, for example, in a jazz band, if they're playing an up-tempo feel, that's a feeling of hurrying, of rushing. So you'll notice that the ride cymbal is always pushing the beat a little bit. It never gets faster than the tempo, but it makes it feel like the tempo is always jumping a little bit. So that's the way you get this hurrying feeling. I'm going to go back to the beginning and play it again. And this time I'm going to try and jump just a little bit. This is something I think you should practice. that's tricky. It's something you want to do. I would suggest doing singing at first. Do it with the metronome and try and push the metronome a little bit. Also, each one of those phrases, to make it sound like it's hurrying, I actually rush them. So instead of I'm going, I actually accelerate very slightly through. These are just musical inflections, but they have a very powerful effect on the way the music feels. So I'll just give you a few tips on double tongue. If you can flutter tongue, that's a good place to start. So I'm going to go down to the double tongue. And I would strongly recommend that you, if you can flutter tongue, practice doing it with very free airflow, very kind of loose, still good air focus. Bring that air into a stream and see how gently you can do it, see how softly you can do it. That's going to relate very much to the kind of looseness and that gives you agility with the tongue when you're doing the quick double tongue. Another way I would practice it, and this is something else I would strongly recommend, is go ahead and do it all K articulation. Now, if you're not already doing this, I strongly recommend that you mix sustained sound, slurring, or playing long tones, with all styles of T articulation, and then see if you can get the K articulation to be as useful as the T articulation. For some people, this is very easy. For others, they may never actually be able to do it. But going in that direction, if you get anything to move in that direction, it gives you more possibility for musical expression. So I cannot K articulate that fast. So I'm going to go half tempo. That's 160. So I'm going to go. What am I practicing? I'm practicing my breath control. I let the tongue try and figure out how to do it, but it has to have the air has to blow sufficiently. You have to have enough flow for the tongue to start oscillating. Otherwise, you end up chopping the air. Now, I'm doing this pretty quickly. You've got to give yourself time to stabilize. So if at first all you can do is legato K articulation, go for it. That's the way I build it, because you're trying to sense how to touch with the tongue, create a seal, and get it out of the way almost instantaneously so it doesn't back up the airflow. And that's the only way you can get this fast articulation. So doing it at all dynamic levels is really helpful. Now this is high-level technical work, but any improvement you can gain should be satisfying to you. And especially if you record yourself maybe once a week doing something like this, go back and listen to it after a month of work. You should be seeing some improvement, and that should give you confidence to keep going. So I hope some of this has been inspirational in that respect. And I hope that you'll join me in the future and maybe spend some time exploring my channel, which has quite a few videos on it right now. So take your time and see if you can find something that you can apply in your own practice. I'll catch you later on, and have a great day. Bye-bye.